Hey, Eleanor, welcome. Susan, hi. Tony, so good to see you. Deborah, Lynn, Jim, Christina, Maggie. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. So wonderful to see you all. This is about radical self-care. This is a day and a time for us to really look within and what are those self-care practices that we are ready to employ in our life.
And Junie, it's wonderful to see you.
Thanks, Eleanor.
There you go, dancing around.
Hello, Carolyn. Yay. Hi, Carolyn Rogers. Rena. Oh my gosh, Rita Boone is here. Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Jean. Awesome. So good to see you guys.
So nice to see
your bodies,
everybody.
Guys. So while we're just waiting for a few more people, well, we've got about 50 people signed up, and some people will be just watching the replays. I got a few people that called to say, I loved you, I just called to say, but I can't make it today. So we're here, and in just a few moments, we're going to begin. So grab your water, make sure you have your water, make sure you have your journals. And I have sent everybody a self-care chart. Okay, everybody received them probably about 3 times. Here are my notes. Hold on, I can find them. And the chart looks like, oh, mine is fully, whoops, filled in. As you can see, I need more. I need more room for my radical self-care practices. Right, so make sure you have your weekly radical self-care wellness toolbox chart either printed out, or you can actually, it's a fillable form, so however you want to use it, but have it close to you because we'll be working with it today. And so water, always be hydrated. That's a really, really, really important self-care habit. I don't tend to drink enough water, and I've been getting way better at it though. Way better. Cheers. All right. All righty. Well, we'll continue letting people in as they come in, but we'll begin to start. And you'll see on your screen, like, I don't know where it'll be on your screen, but on the top left from me, right next to me, is my dear, dear friend, Tayama. Tayama McWaid is a beautiful, beautiful being, and you will see her extraordinary gifts that she offers today. She's my dear friend and my colleague, and I'm so happy that we get to play together today in this Zoom room with you. And I want to start off by saying that we gratefully acknowledge that we live and work on the unceded territory of the Nukne people, and we honor their land and traditions. And I apologize if I did not pronounce it correctly. but I have deep reverence for the land in which we work and play. So we are here today to really take a deep dive inward about what radical self-care means. What do these practices mean? And what I want to say right up from the start is that self-care is a radical. Self-care, we've had these tools with self-care practices forever. What's radical and what's really important is practicing them, is putting them into our daily routine and really being able to take a look at, am I giving the needed time that's necessary for my care today and now, and listening into our bodies and listening into our spirit and listening into our heart. That's what's radical, because most of us, many of us, tend not to do that. So you're all here, you signed up for this because of your own reasons, and our intention today, Tayama and our intention, is to make this as active as possible. Okay, we want to hear from you. We're going to have lots of opportunity for you to speak. There'll be writing exercises, there'll be Zoom room breakout rooms where you'll be sharing your writing with others and your process. And so please show up the best you can with your voice, because it matters. All right, so Tayama, do you want to give the housekeeping rules?
Yes, of course. I like to be the housekeeper. I've been a housekeeper for actually most of my life. Actually, probably when I was about 8 years old, I started being the housekeeper at my home.
Wow,
So,
you're good. What are you doing
so
after this program?
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully you've gathered your pen and hopefully your journal and a notebook, a glass of water or a tea. If you haven't, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need those items. They're going to be part of your radical self-care program during the next 2.5 hours. And your chart. If you didn't print your chart, well, that's okay. Make sure that you have a piece of paper so that you can start when you have aha moments or things come through, that you have some way to record them. So that's really, really important, because there might be a couple of other wise people on this call, which is all of us, that something might really resonate with you and you want to be able to capture that. So that is really good. Now, as you know, it's being recorded. So if you don't want that beautiful face of yours to be on recording or on video and somebody watching it later, then please feel free to turn off your video. And if you want to have your beautiful face known, that's good too, because it's really nice for the container to be able to see each other, to be here, to be present. So, but totally respectful, whatever it needs to be. And if for some weird reason you go into like a self-care radical moving act where you need to shake the body or move your position or take care of yourself in a deep, deep way, just put your video camera off until you get yourself situated and how you'd like to be situated. Get playful with it, and then bring the video back on when stillness has arisen, so that we're not distracted by your radical movement self-care practice. So, also, confidentiality. May I see a raise of hands of what happens in the circle in radical self-scare, scare, oh my goodness, radical self-care stays in the circle. So may I see a raise of hands that confidentiality, what happens in the circle stays in the circle, that the container will be held with utmost respect and acceptance, and it's fully safe to be here. It is safe to be here. It is safe to be you. It is safe to breathe. And just having you guys all uphold that, that would be great. And there's something really important happening at the end. So hopefully you can stay until the end. Junie has maybe a surprise to talk about, an offering. Yeah, so stay right to the end for your radical self-care. And that is about it for the housekeeping, other than I'm going to trust you to take care of your needs. So if you need to go to the washroom or grab a snack or whatever it is that you need to provide care to yourself, full permission, not that you need permission from me, but full permission to radically take care of whatever it is that you need. If you need to leave early or something happens, um, you could just maybe just send me a little note. Or also, if something's not working, sound, you're having trouble with video or something, if you need to send me something in the back end that you need some help with, I'm here to support Junie as well as the tech host. So we have some things. So I think that is it. Junie is going to now guide us into a meditation. So I will get your music ready, Junie. So if everybody can just settle in, we'll get started here in one moment.
Yeah, I like to start every time I do a workshop, whether it's live or on Zoom, with a getting here, getting settled meditation, because we've all come from different places just now, other conversations we've had, or wherever we've been in our mind, in the past, in the present, like the future, what's happening later. So let us all just gather in our energies into this moment. And so I would like you to get comfortable, find a comfortable position in your chair. Gently place your feet on the floor, allowing them to ground you. And rest your hands softly in your lap or by your sides, whatever feels most natural. And close your eyes or soften your gaze. Begin to bring your awareness inward, letting go of distractions from the outside world. And take a deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. And then slowly exhale, releasing any tension. Again, inhale deeply, feeling the breath move through your body. When you exhale, let go of any worry or any stress that you might be feeling in this moment. And with each breath, allow yourself to settle even deeper into this moment. Turn it down a little bit, please. Thank you. Feel the support of your chair beneath you. Let your shoulders relax, your jaw unclench, your hands resting at ease by your sides. And now simply notice your breath. No need to change it. Just observe the gentle rise and fall, the natural rhythm of your body, always there, always steady. We are being breathed, and each breath, conscious breath, brings us to an awareness of this present moment of now, this beautiful present moment of stillness. And feel your body begin to relax as you settle into this space of stillness. And now imagine a gentle white light accompanying you in your breath, surrounding you, enfolding you, a warm and nurturing presence of this beautiful iridescent light, a light that represents your care, your kindness, your commitment to yourself. Today we explore the practice of making yourself your number one priority. Self-care is not a luxury, not anymore. It's a necessity in these changing times. Know that you are worthy of your own time, attention, and love. When you think about deeply caring for yourself, what emotions or sensations arise in you? Can you remember a time when you felt fully supported and nurtured? What made that experience so meaningful? Reflect on what true support feels like for you. We are the ones who must give that support to ourselves. After all, who knows us better than we do? Who knows us what we need in any given moment better than we do? No one, right? So it's time for us to turn up our love for ourselves and make our own self-care practices non-negotiable. We often wish other people would nurture us in the ways we need, but again, in reality, we're the ones that know what we need more than anyone else and when we need it. And we'd probably be all over it if it was someone else who needed it, right? How often do we leap to give another person we love what they need? Most of us here are probably empaths and givers, and it's harder for us to give that same time and attention to ourselves. Today, we're going to explore that. We're going to turn that paradigm around and learn to know what that means, to fill up our own well first, to put on that safety mask first, to really know that when we do, then we come to our life full expression of ourselves. We have excess. When we give to ourselves and we fill up ourselves with self-love and all of the self-care practices that we need throughout the day, whether it's just taking a few breaths in between the next activity, sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes it's much more. But when we do, when other people say to us, hey, can you help me with such and such? We can say, sure, what do you need? As opposed to, oh, damn. Ugh. And we don't know how to say no to the person, and then we give, but we're resenting it. We've all been there. Okay, so today we're going to not come from an empty bucket anymore. It doesn't serve anyone. So take another deep breath right now. As you inhale, ask yourself, what do I need? And listen to your body's wisdom, okay? What it may be yearning for. Just ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? And allow the question to settle in your heart and let the answers arise without judgment. Perhaps you need rest. Maybe your body craves movement, or your mind seeks stillness. Whatever it is, acknowledge it with compassion and visualize a golden thread connecting your heart, mind, and body. This thread represents your inner wisdom. Trust it. Listen to its guidance. And imagine yourself engaging in an act of self-care. See yourself nourishing your body with a yummy meal, really nurturing and nourishing meal, or stretching with gentle movements, or journaling your thoughts, or resting in stillness. And picture how it feels to offer yourself this gift. Just imagine how it feels. and feel the warmth of self-love growing within you. Finally, affirm to yourself, I am worthy of care and attention. And say that to yourself. Say that silently to yourself. I am worthy of care and attention. My needs are valid and deserving of my time. My needs are valid and deserving of my time. I choose to honor myself with kindness. So let these affirmations settle into your being and carry the energy of this self-compassion with you throughout our time together today and through the rest of the day. And consider how you'll begin to bring your favorite self-care practices into your everyday. Remembering that prioritizing yourself allows you to show up more fully for others. So when you're ready, take another deep breath. And wiggle your fingers and toes. You can stretch your arms high to the heavens. And you can open your eyes and come back to the room. Beautiful. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to have an open discussion. I want you to feel free, please, to mute yourselves and share. Actually, no, what we're going to do right now, I got lost myself for a moment looking at this. We're going to introduce ourselves, where Tayama and I are. And I want to introduce my dear friend Tayama. So this is her self-proclaimed bio. Tayama is a self-employed starseed on Earth having a human experience. Her superpowers are star language, turning the mundane into magic, bliss, and non-negotiable self-love. And to me, she's about to go into her star language, but I just want to say one more thing, because to me, she's like a loving sprite, spreading her fairy dust and magic wherever she goes. When you're with her, she has the capacity, this is my experience of her, to bring magic into your field where it wasn't there before. And you just can't help but feel lifted in her presence. And she's also human. And therefore, she's going to tell us why radical self-care is non-negotiable for her. So go for it, Tayama.
Thank you for your kind words, Junie. And yes, my star language, I hear it continuously. And to just give you a blessing of what is coming through right now is just so blessed to be here, to be in the circle, to be in communion and community, and to be talking about what is non-negotiable, which is self-care is non-negotiable. And to give you not all of my story, but a tiny, tiny spark of the story that brought me to non-negotiable self-care. I was for 50 years the ascended master of making sure everybody is okay. I love to be in service, and I am the ascended master on the planet of people pleasing and serving and loving and all the things until I couldn't, until I was brought to my knees by, we all have a story. We all have the things that happen that have us look and see the truth. And whether that's somebody passing away, or it's a chronic illness, or it's pain, or it's grief, or it's anxiety, or whatever it is that's in your life that you think shouldn't be there, that brings you to your knees to see that you are the medicine. You are what you need, that every moment is perfect. Nothing needs to be changed or fixed. Nobody is broken, and that we are here, we are love. And I came to this moment at a near death experience after losing my dad, my mom, my husband, my dog. It sounds like an old country song. Really, after I had lost everything and had been brought to my knees and realized I am here to serve. I am here. That's what I'm here to do. Serve and anchor joy on this planet. And I was learning that through my body. So I got taught a lesson through the body. And in the past 2 years, I went through everything on the outside to possibly change what I was feeling on the inside. It just felt too much. And then it happened. I realized, oh, right, it's inside. It's inside. And then I started listening to tiny little yeses and tiny little nos. And things started to transform. And love and joy and those things could be held in the moment of all the moments that feel like they're too much. And so, a couple of things that I will share with you today are a couple of the things that brought me to a place of radical self care of non negotiable. I've actually been quite sick all week. And so, really, radical self care would have actually looked like not showing up today for this, taking a bath, going for a lovely walk, and perhaps having a nap. But there's things on the external that seem like compromise, and there's things on the internal that seem like compromise. And my internal compass of compromise was to actually show up committed in love and allow whatever is arising. That to think that I can't teach when I don't feel well is actually just a belief. That me showing up real and authentic is the radical self care piece that I didn't compromise. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm really excited about sharing a couple of tools that have really helped me on this journey of moving from a place of love rather than moving from a place of fear. Our beingness is in the body, which is in the heart. And it's just been such a delight to be an infant moving from the heart rather than to think I know everything and move from fear. So those are some of the pieces I'm going to share with you today. So my journey was a journey of 53 years of life showing me what is actually non-negotiable. So thank you for your kind words, Junie. And I guess
Thank
I get
you.
to introduce Junie next. This radical, beautiful being that she is. And Junie teaches me radical self-care. She tells me what she wants. She knows where she wants things to go. She tells me her heart, you don't have to guess what is happening. And that is a beautiful thing about Junie. And Junie is not only an author, playwright, psychotherapist, speaker, workshop facilitator, corporate trainer, professional writing coach. She also is a human being that brings magic and sparkles and calls in the hummingbirds wherever she is. Even if it's 17 floors up where there's no plants, the hummingbirds come to visit Junie. She spent 30 years guiding thousands of students in writing and sharing their life stories through deep and powerful processes, and that have completely transformed how they experience their journey. You are in for a treat today. So
Thank
stay
you,
here,
Tayama.
stay in your bodies, because there might be a few little nuggets along the way from somebody who has a lot of direct experience about radical self care. She sees the therapeutic process and the creative process as one, as we are one. It's about accessing that special place within us where serenity, love, courage, and truth reside. We were born with it. We've always had it. It's never going anywhere. And it is the one piece that remains constant, regardless of what's happening on the outside or the inside. What makes her extraordinary is that she knows both sides of the couch. actually what it's like to have a couch or not have a couch, really. Junie is an extraordinary healer, and she knows both sides. She was diagnosed with manic depressive illness at age 19. She's lived with many challenges on and off, as all of us have throughout our whole life and throughout her life. Her personal experiences have taught her coping strategies, not just coping strategies. What I see from Junie is thriving strategies. So I'm challenging Junie to change that word in that sentence in this moment. And she is wellness. Her illness makes her relatable, humble, grateful, resourceful, real, authentic, beautiful, unique. It's like all the things. What Junie is love. And she's here sharing some of her love with you today. And I'm privileged to have been invited along as a sidekick along this journey to support Junie in the love that she wants to express herself in this world. So, Junie, welcome to the Zoom red carpet.
Where do you go from there? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Quite humbling, really. I'm actually feeling very vulnerable today. And like Tayama, I've also been quite ill, and it probably would have served us best to just say, not today, let's do it another day. But, you know, I've learned to listen to my soul's calling, just as Tayama has. And there is that inner, I don't like to use the word compromise so much, but there, I guess it is in some ways. It was just this inner directive that this was the right thing to do, to show up. Because as you said, Tayama, it's a story I tell myself that I can't. And when I can. And here I am, and here you are. And so I learned when I was very young, I was only 20 when I was diagnosed. In those years, it was called manic depressive illness. And my young life in my 20s, early 30s was a revolving door in and out of mental institutions. And there was something in my spirit that said, this doesn't have to be your future. And I don't know what, because there was nothing in my direct life, in my family, that would have guided me in a direction other than where I looked like I was headed. But I did choose, wherever I could find things that were uplifting and enlightening and empowering and beautiful. And I've always been someone who believed in magic and believe in our hearts. And I see the glass always as half full to flowing over. No matter what was in front of me, I would see the potential of something much greater and much more beautiful. And I've been blessed throughout my life to have had mentors along the way that would teach me and guide me to stay steady and strong when I wanted to collapse. And I have collapsed often. And these last 2 years have, if I was ever going to collapse for good, it would have been just these last 2 years where I was brought to my knees with cancer, brought to my knees when my husband left, and when 6 of my very dear friends passed away with cancer. And but I didn't collapse. I fooled the medical system when they thought that, oh, it doesn't look like she's going to make it. I made it. 6 months cancer free. Let's go. Woo! I'd like to see everybody. Yay. Yeah.
Woohoo! Yay!
We actually do our love language together often. Star language, love language, beautiful something. I never know how to interpret it, but it feels fun. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, in January, I moved to Nanaimo from Victoria, and I moved into a beautiful building, a beautiful apartment. I love this apartment, but unfortunately, the owners of the building were negligent and they didn't put the heat on in the coldest time of the year for 2.5, close to 3 weeks. And I got very sick and I'm still dealing with that. And there's been a lot of times where it's just been, I don't know how to get beyond the pain, but I do know how, because there's no other choice. There isn't another choice. And sometimes it's been very hard because it takes me out of physical pain. I'm used to a lot of emotional stuff, but this is physical stuff and it's different. And I'm here not to teach you what I know. I'm here to share with you that I know that radical self-care, putting into practice the care that we deserve, in order to show up for those people we love in our life, we have to love ourselves first and make that a priority. This I know. What does Oprah say? What do I know? What does she say? She says, this I know, something I know. I, Junie, know that this is a truism. And so something called you here today. And what we would like to do is open your mics, unmute yourselves, and share out loud.
I've typed the questions in the chat. What's your favorite self-care practice? What prevents you from doing it? And what inspires you to return to your self-care practices?
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, if you can open your chat to see that. And
And just raise your hand up if you know how to raise your hand. You should see in the middle of your screen, there should be a raise hand. And if you don't, under the more button or reactions button, you should be able to raise your hand. If you'd like to share,
and we really invite you to do this. We want to make this interactive. Please be bold and unmute yourself. Okay, Tony, thank you. Unmute yourself, Tony. So good to see you. Tony
Hi.
wrote a magnificent book. Talk about self-care and caring for others. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Junie. Nice to see you. I've had a challenging 2 years with my health, and in October I had spinal surgery, very invasive surgery. I'm still recovering.
speak up a
Mm,
little bit, Tony, please.
Yep.
That would be great. Thank you.
Let me come closer. Okay. Is that better?
think so.
Not much. Okay. Well, I'll just talk louder.
Thank you.
I had spinal surgery in October. It was very invasive. For 4 weeks, I really couldn't bend or twist or lift anything. I required my companion to really fully take care of me and be dependent on him. I knew the surgery was coming, and I spent the year exploring self-care and self-love. I started eating a plant-based diet, and I switched chicken and fish, but much healthier. I wasn't able to exercise very much because of the pain. And so that was very limiting. And exercise, I wished I could move without pain. And I'm a former ballroom dancer. I couldn't dance. I could barely walk without support from a walker. Um, so I've continued a lot of the practices. I'm in physical therapy, but I'm able to move now. I'm not restricted in my movement. And I don't have too much resistance now to self-care, a little bit depending on the pain that I have, just because it's just hard to work through the pain and to
Right.
get results. But I do exercises every day, a gratitude journal, um, working on hydration. I haven't conquered that one yet, but it seems to be helping the more water that I drink. And I've started doing the treadmill every day. So those are just a few things. I miss gardening. I wasn't able to bend and do a lot for a long time. And the other day I pulled some weeds in the garden and I had a blast. I just
Wow.
felt connected to God
Wow.
up and above.
Wow.
So, so that's kind of the note for you.
Congratulations. Oh, that must have felt amazing considering what you've been going
It
through.
really did.
where
Well,
you
and
are.
I'm in Florida, so it's 70, 80 degrees. It's just
Nice.
incredible, incredible weather, incredibly beautiful. We've had spring for about a month now.
Oh, well, thank you for this share. And you continue to just keep continuing with your self-care practices, going out into the garden to weed, to just do what it is that puts a big smile. And do you have some water beside you? This is a time
Yes,
to
I do.
hydrate. Okay.
I
Okay, do it
Time to
now.
hydrate. Everybody,
Right
lift your
now.
Everybody
glasses.
hydrate together.
Let's everybody drink together. Water. Tea, scotch,
Ken, I
whatever.
just want to add something about my health issues. 6 years
Very
ago,
quickly, please. Yeah.
I was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune neurological disease, which is progressive. And I really started self-care back then, but not to the degree. I just kept having health problems one after the other. And I would just suggest to everybody, don't wait. If you're healthy now, stay healthy, do everything you can. Whatever the resistance is, I think we're going to learn how to work through that today.
Beautiful. It's so true. It's not, don't wait. Yeah. Um, okay. Lynn? Lynn, did you have?
Yeah, okay. Thank
Hi,
you.
Lynn, yeah. Great.
I just wanted to share something that happened to me. It was about 8 years ago. I had arthritis so bad that I couldn't walk with a cane in one hand and my daughter supporting me in another hand. Remember walking out of this room, this meeting I was at, and I thought, this is ridiculous. So I went home, and my late husband had been really good at researching things. So I said, okay, I'm going to research this. So I did that. I spent a lot of time. I found this book almost right away that was very helpful. And then I found an update of this book that was even more helpful. And what I did was, it was a particular combination of natural supplements and a change in my diet it was called an anti-inflammation diet. And I went very, very quickly, like within days, I had, with no pain. Like my doctor was saying, I'd have to have a hip replacement to let him know when I wanted more pain medication or pain medication and all this stuff. And it was just miraculous. Because of this research I had done, and it just all worked. And so I've been passing on this information. I can even run for the bus, which is a big mistake because I fell and broke my shoulder one time running for the bus, but I recovered from that, fortunately, pretty well. But it just shows you that, we can change our lives, we can change our health, and,
Totally.
anyway, that's about it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm so glad that you were able to research what you needed and you applied it and the miracles that showed up. Yeah.
And one thing that I've been doing is, like, I wrote all what I'd done down on a piece of paper, and, to help other people, and where I got this particular supplement that made a difference in 3 days, this particular combination of supplements.
Well, I'm going to
So,
be asking you about that because I know that right now there's a lot of inflammation in my body. And so
yeah,
I'm
I've
very
got the name of
curious
the
to know
book
what
that
is. Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, I can email it to you. Okay.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much. Who else would like to share, please? Welcome, Winnie. Don't be shy. We're talking about self-care and the importance of being radical, and that is implementing your self-care. So the questions are, what is your favorite self-care practice? What prevents you from doing it? And what inspires you to return to self-care?
Well, I can share, if there's nobody else to share, what my favorite self-care practice has been, and it's called a pause. I know it seems really simple, but it's really subtle. And for somebody that loves doing, the pause is the best thing to break up the doing so that being can be cultivated. So I started setting the pauses in my phone every hour. And the fun thing about it is when I'm with others and my phone starts doing this thing, they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have to breathe." They're like, "What?" And I said, "Oh, because I forget to pause. I've set all these alarms, and often they go off when I'm with other individuals. And so now I can be in the house, and all of a sudden my phone will be going off, and Archer will be, "Nana, we have to breathe." So I'm teaching the 3-year-old. And my daughter too, she's like, "Mom, breathe." Because my phone might be in a different part of the house and she's like, "I'm not hearing the alarm." So now everybody knows so every time an alarm is going off, I pause, even if it's just for 30 seconds to be here. So that's been
That's
my favorite self-care practice. Just thought I would share because it's really simple and
It's-
really powerful.
and it's wonderful that you put it on your phone so that it goes off. It's an alarm. I love that you're teaching your grandchildren this and your daughter, and yeah, and now us. Okay, Barb, you've come back. So would you like to share with us?
Oh, are we waiting for her?
Go ahead, Maggie.
Okay.
Invite Judy, please. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm just trying to walk my talk on self-care and put in things, put things into practice that I love to guide others with as a psychotherapist. So one of my favorite tools is Insight Timer. I don't know if you know about it. It's a free app where you can pay for the more advanced version of it, but it just has so many beautiful meditations on there. You can put in the search bar sleep, you can put anxiety, you can put stress, you can put overwhelm, you can put overthinking, you can put anxiety. I said that. You can put you can put chakras. You can and the one that I discovered the other day was you can put bath. I had no idea that there are certain meditations just for the bath. And so that was a lovely discovery in Insight Timer because it literally had you scooping up water and releasing it with your breath. And it was just so
Wow.
beautiful. So I continue to discover things in there that really enhance my day. And when I make a practice of doing that every morning and sometimes now in the bath or just before bed, there's just, I'm so grateful for that resource. And another thing is I love when science and art come together. So I've been using a lot of in the background of my day. I don't know how to say the word. It's Solfeggio beats. Is that, it's the Hertz music
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
is in the background. And you can have, depending on my energy, it can be my husband's recovering from knee surgery, so there's some for pain, there's some for stress, there's some for anxiety, there's some for peace, these kinds of things in the background of my day. And I love how our nervous systems respond to those vibrations. And so I'm just finding that really soothing. I've also, I'm just really trying to commit to my a little bit of exercise, whether it's jumping on my trampoline with my music if I'm in that kind of mood, or whether it's my wall Pilates, or whether it's a walk, or whether it's yoga. But just that mind-body connection is super important to settle my nervous system. And one of my favorite, most powerful things is tapping. Emotional freedom technique, tapping. I've been tapping for 30 years. The science behind it, the way that it soothes the body and the mind, and it, tapping is like we get out all those thoughts and feelings. When we just go blah, and then we feel better. But then once we release all of it, we put things in that we really need and want. When our brains are back on, I feel like this is our brain, and when it's unplugged, it's like blah, and tapping plugs it back in and soothes the nervous system, and then we get back to what do I really want. So I love anchoring that in with tapping and breath.
Those are beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. And please, everybody, put these down. If these aren't things that, if they resonate with you and they think, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that, and put them down in your chart and add to them, add to what you've got already. And I love Insight Timer because I'm always discovering brand new things there as well. And I have some things on there. And if you put in Junie Swadron on Insight Timer, I have one of my favorite is a inner child meditation. And
I love that. I didn't know you were on there, Junie. Wonderful.
oh yeah, I've got one of my books. I've got a whole bunch of podcasts.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so just put my name in there and there's, yeah, but the gift of the inner child is one of my favorite, and it's a really beautiful way of self-love. It's all about self-love. So and tapping is great. I forgot all about that. Yeah, I put it in the chat that it's also called EFT, emotional freedom technique, and brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, and there's tons of videos on YouTube. If you put in, you go to YouTube and you put tapping anxiety, tapping stress, tapping grief, tapping breakup, tapping whatever, you will find that it's one of the best ways to learn tapping. And
it's so immediate.
Yeah.
And like you said, you love science and spiritual. I mean, there's a whole science behind it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that it's been recognized for many, many years, and it's so immediate. You go in and you have like from 1 to 10, where's your pain, and you give it a number, and then like a few minutes later, it could go from a 10 or a 9 to a 2 or a 1 or a 0. That's how quick it is. So yeah, endorse that for sure. Okay, let's just take 1 or 2 more people quickly. Who would like to share what your favorite self-care methods are? Tools, and what may or may not resist and what will call you back to doing it again. Yes, Deborah. Thank you. Oh,
Hi, everyone. Well, a couple of things came up for me, and one is getting to that place where commitment is not a dirty word. And it's the commitment of recognizing that doing it every day, and a lot of times twice a day. There's a couple of us here that meditate twice a day regularly and probably have not missed a day. And the cumulative benefits are profound. But something really simple that I do quite often is just simply extend my breath. That's all it is. I could be busy, rushing, going somewhere, chopping vegetables, doing whatever. And I realize that I need to settle down. The simple aspect of tuning into the breath and just gently extending it and hearing the breath and feeling the breath takes me out of my head and into my body. And I can feel instantly my nervous system settle down, because by extending the breath, it activates our parasympathetic nervous.
Unknown caller.
Probably sad. And so, yeah, so the breath, a gentle, light breath.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Deborah. Mm. Would anybody else like to share? Jim, yes. Just unmute yourself, Jim. Jim, you have to unmute yourself. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, I'm on.
Yeah.
Well, one of my main self-care is just exercise. And I came to that because in I guess it was probably my 20s and maybe 30s, I used to really quite often throw my back out, and it was just incredibly painful. And there were times when I couldn't even move. I mean, I was like in bed for a week, the last really big spell I had with it. And so I finally, and I was hearing these stories about how, that you end up having to get operations and then, to fuse various, what do they call those, spinal segments in your back sometimes. And I just didn't want to go through that. So long story short, I went to the library and looked up what to do for bad backs. And all the exercises, and I started doing them. And it took maybe a couple of years before I was where I wasn't really vulnerable to having a big back spasm. But the exercise, but it did work. And there was something that felt really empowering about being able to fix it myself instead of relying on the medical profession or operations or whatever. And and I've always, loved movement, and I've always felt like movement was a really good thing. So one of my radical self-care things is just to make sure I get really, really regular exercise. And I do yoga in the morning, and now I'm 85, so I don't go running up the mountains anymore like I used to, but I do get regular walks and sometimes get down to the gym and work out, enough to keep my body kind of physically going. And yeah, so that's an important one.
Wow, congratulations, Jim. 85, and you are so going strong. And I love that you chose not to have operation. Instead, what you did was you went and you checked out what are other ways that I can heal my back, and you did those exercises, and look at you today.
It's one of the things that when Sharon Kaufman is having, something to deal with, and then looking up and figuring it out and doing it and having it work. So,
well, that's what I call radical gangster. That's what I call, it's not just the self-care. You've implemented it, and you continue, and you've got these, you continue with the way in which you physically can move your body every day to make the difference, to keep it strong and healthy. And that's beautiful. We're all learning from each other. Okay. Hey, welcome, Suri, all the way from Norway. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Junie. Am I very late?
An hour, but that's okay. We're always on time. Wherever we start, that's when we're.
I'm sorry,
you're here now. You're here now. It's perfect, and you'll get the replay. So right now, we are going to thank you all for those of you who shared. Eleanor, I'm sorry, we're needing to go on. And Tayama, we are going to ask you now to bring us your beautiful gift of movement and sound.
Yes. So The funny thing is I love how Junie thinks that it's me bringing the sound and the movement to this. However, this is a parts party. So I would like you, it's an invitation to close your eyes or have your eyes open. Everything is an invitation. And I would love if you would invite all your parts to this party. Every single last one of you. I am here. I am here. I am here. So whatever that looks like for you, the first couple of minutes, we're going to go somewhere where one of the parts really, really wants to go. And then we're going to play a playful game of intuition. So with your eyes closed or your eyes open, you've invited all your parts. And you're all standing at the gateway to the magical land of your heart. And I don't know what that is for your parts. Is it a beach? Is it a meadow? Is it a mountainside? Are you at a river? You know exactly where that is, where this parts party is going to happen. So settle yourself there. Are you beside a lake? Are you at the ocean? Are you somewhere off in the universe? Wherever it is, that's where the party is. And we are going to play a playful game with all the parts. And the fun thing is there's going to be an invitation that if you want to turn your camera off so that you don't feel self-conscious about maybe people seeing you move around, everybody's mic is off, so nobody's going to hear you. And we're going to play freeze and unfreeze. And we're going to intuitively, deeply listen to whichever part would love to move the body or bring a sound forth. And it can be tiny. It can be stillness. Guess what? It can be whatever you intuitively are tapping into. So when I say unfreeze, wherever you're at, whether you're at the beach or the mountain or at the lake or in the pool or in the sandbox, all the parts are there. An invitation to allow your sound to come out and to allow nourishing movement. And maybe it's roaring, maybe it's whispering, maybe it's singing, maybe it's tiny, tiny spirals in this pelvis. Maybe it's wiggling the fingers. But we're going to play a game, a playful game, and this is going to be a pause. So here we go. Unfreeze. Open and soften. Open and soften. An invitation for sound to be here, to be movement to be here. Freeze. Close your eyes and feel what is happening in the body. When I say freeze, can you feel that the movement is happening in the stillness? Unfreeze. Allow the sound. Allow the movement. Let it come through. Don't be shy or be shy. Which part wants to move what part? What sound wants to emerge? Yeah, freeze. Unfreeze. Freeze. Unfreeze. You can take it even deeper. What part is moving? What part is talking? What part is making the sound? The intelligence of this body, the intelligence of the heart. What would feel the most nourishing movement in this moment? Inviting that in. What sound would nourish you in this moment? Freeze. Listen deeper. Be here deeper. Unfreeze. Subtler. Slower, faster. What if nobody really could ever tell you how to move, how to sound? What if it's all just happening from within? Can you soften? Can you open? Soften and open. Freeze. Closing the eyes, feeling the movement in the stillness. The pause. Unfreeze. How deeply can you listen? How deeply can you feel? How deeply can you allow the opening, the softening, the opening, the softening? And now, freeze. If you're in a place that you can stand, I invite you to stand. And if you can't stand, that's okay. If you need support to hang on to a counter, I'm going to have you close your eyes. And one of my favorite Qigong moves is called bamboo in the wind. So sometimes we maybe can't seem to feel that movement. So let's just close our eyes. Our feet are a little bit apart. And just feel, rather than move the body, allow the body to be a bamboo in the wind. The subtle, subtle sway of the spiral from within the earth, connected at the feet. Tiny, tiny bamboo. Beautiful. You can try it with your eyes open. Just feel the gentle sway. So the playful way to listen to your intuition, taking a tiny pause in your day to feel what feels the most nourishing movement and the most nourishing sound without judgment. Thank you for playing my game. Beautiful.
That was beautiful. That was really fun, Tayama. That was really fun. I'm so glad that you invited all of our parts to the party, that we could just let them out to express whatever sound needed to be released and whatever movement wanted to be expressed. And that's something that we can do anytime, anytime. So for any of you who know me, and most of you here do, and some of you don't, but you can't imagine having a program without writing. Writing for me has been part of my life since I was a little girl, and somebody gave me a diary with like 5-year diary with a little lock and key. And I tell you, I filled that 5-year diary in probably a week and I've never stopped. And it became a lifeline. It became my secret place where I could tell my journal, my diary then, my journal since, things I couldn't tell anybody. And it's just been truly, the amount of wisdom that comes out of the pen astounds me again and again and again. So when I opened up my psychotherapy practice over 30 years ago on the same year, maybe the same day, I don't know, I started facilitating writing groups called Right Where You Are. It was the first one that I did way back then, still do them now. And so we are about to do some writing. And so I'll just quickly let you know how to move beyond writer's block and guidelines for fearless writing. So the first one is breathe. Because writing is a full-bodied exercise. It's not just the brain, and it's not just the fingers. It calls for full breath, right? Because when we get scared, our breathing comes on the surface. It just is shallow, and our writing becomes shallow. And the more grounded we are in our body, the deeper our writing becomes. So I want you to breathe. Okay, forget about spelling, punctuation, grammar, syntax, any of that stuff. Throw it out. It's overrated anyway. So basically, during the creative process, you never concern yourself with any of that, ever. You can just allow your left linear logical brain to come in later if you want to edit something, but not now. Now we just, you don't stop and say, gee, how do you spell that? Well, that'll take you right out of your stream of conscious writing. That'll take you out, bring you back into your head. That'll stop you for good. Okay. And the same with grammar, all of that. So let it go. Don't think. I don't want you to think. Because when you think, you're planning, you're editing, you're figuring out what to say, you're basically controlling it. You want to let the writing do the writing. You just move out of the way and you let your hand just move across the page as though you are channeling the information, because you are. When we let the writing do the writing, we're not even there. I've been facilitating writing groups for over 30 years, and I have to tell you, most people have no idea what they've written until they read it back, because we're not there. We're just writing. And then it's like, wow, did I write that? Holy, wow. Okay, so those are pretty much it, I don't, the others, there's a few others, but we're just gonna be able to, one of the things is we're going to write in a minute for 15 minutes. And the thing is, what I do and ask other people to do in our groups is if you're gonna, I'll let you know, we'll let you know when the 15 minutes is up. But if you think that you're finished, well, you're not. You put these, you're writing like this, and then you think you're finished, you put 2 diagonal lines. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, two lines like train tracks where you are, and you keep going. Even if you have to repeat the last sentence 3 times, it's going to shift, I promise you. Often what we write after those 2 lines is quite profound. And we think we're finished, but usually we're scared and we don't want to say it or whatever. There's often something. And so just keep going and see what comes up. And sometimes it will just take you in another direction. You don't know. And you won't know if you don't give it a chance. So keep writing until the 15 minutes is up. And this is what you're going to write. So grab your journal, all right? And
I've put it in the chat as well. So if you
I
forget,
love that you did that. Thank you. Okay, so it's write a letter to your future self 1 year from today. So today is what, the 22nd of March, 2025. So you're writing it in 2026 on March 22nd. And describe the self-care practices that you have embraced and how they've transformed your life. And what advice, encouragement, or reminders would you give to yourself to stay committed to your well-being? Okay, so are there any questions? I don't see any. All righty, so whenever you're ready, I'm going to put my timer on for 15 minutes and begin to write. Thank you. All right, so finish up where you are. Let's take a moment to finish up wherever you are on the page. And we're going to take a 5-minute bathroom break to just stretch, get up, stretch, and to go to the washroom. And we're going to come back at 11:35, that specific time. So 5 minutes, take a look. And then we're going into breakout rooms. So make sure you're back so that you can be part of a breakout room to share your process or your writing. And Tayama will give you the instructions for that. But for right now, let's just take a break.
All right. It is
Right.
11:35. So welcome back, everyone. Hopefully you found that
Woo.
nourishing and fun to write yourself a future letter that you're going to read 1 year from now. Hide it in a spot that you'll remember to find it. And yeah, let's just talk a little bit about what the breakout rooms are for. There's some container boundaries that I just want to put in place. This is going to be a place where you can read what you wrote and fully share whatever you want to share. And the other participants in the room, there's a couple rooms with only 2, and there's some rooms with 3, just because the numbers looks like some people kind of get bumped off the internet. So a couple of things. Remember your room number. And this is important because if for some reason you lose connection or the internet goes down and you come back into the main room, you can say, Tayama, I got bumped out. I'll say, okay, what room are you in? So take note when you're joining the room to just jot down quickly your room number. You're going to have 10 minutes for sharing. So I guess just be mindful if there's 3 people in the room and there's 10 minutes, everybody gets about 3.5 minutes to share what they wrote and what they want to do. And the other 2 people who are listening are doing just that. It's like a diet. It is 100% accepted, neutral, just witnessing. So you're going to go into a witness position where there's going to be no advice given. You're not going to like show movement that it's, oh, that's really awesome, or oh boy, I find that traumatizing. So just remain as neutral as possible so that the person who is sharing can just share fully. And then at the end, they're going to say, I'm complete. And you're going to say, thank you. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you. And then the next person is going to share, and same thing. Then the other 2 people are going to hold that beautiful container of full acceptance. And then when that person is done, they're going to say, I am complete. The last person is going to go. And hopefully you've shared the time equally so that somebody hasn't taken up way too much time and then somebody only gets 1 minute at the end. So just be mindful. And then when you get to the end and everybody has shared and everybody has just said, thank you. Maybe you might have a couple minutes left in your room. I'm going to be pulling you back. And you're welcome then at that point to share, as long as it's just sharing. It's not like, oh, I want to help you with this, or I want to help you with that. So this isn't going to be a space where you bring all your radical self-care to fix everybody. This is going to be a beautiful moment to just really deeply listen. And what I would suggest is when they're reading is that just feel into the body, feel what's happening, watch the thoughts, and just be so present for them. Just be really present for them.
The only other thing, if I don't mind, if
Yeah,
I may
I was going
say
to say, if
this,
there's anything I missed, Junie, let me know.
all I would suggest is sometimes before people read, they will start to qualify. Well, I didn't really know what to write, and I wasn't really sure about this or that or that. And that takes a lot of time. So I would really suggest that you don't, that you just start reading, because to start wherever you are is perfect. There's no right or wrong or any of that. And so it's absolutely perfect, however you've shown, whatever's come out of your pen. Okay, and you may not even know, you probably will be surprised yourself. So thank you for participating.
Okay,
in
well,
this. Okay.
upon that note, I'm going to send everybody, you're going to go into breakout rooms for 10 minutes. And I wish you all a very nourishing time. There'll be a timer that says there's a minute left, and then everybody will come back into the room, and then we'll have a time that you can share in the room. All right, everybody, here we go.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Okay, so I'd like you to unmute yourselves as we carry on to just share a little bit about what you learned about yourself through your writing and from that process of being in, Kami, in that, in your breakout room.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to go that quickly to put my hand up, but I just wanted to say I'm pretty sick, and I have
Oh,
brain fog at the
you have
moment.
what?
I've got a kind of brain fog.
Brain fog.
My brain is not really working. So what I wrote was just hopefully how I will be in a year. I've just moved. I met you on Bowen. I don't know if you remember, several years ago.
On
And
Bowen Island.
I've just moved to Vancouver, but I still have my place on Bowen because I'm trying to sell it. And I came back to do some work and just felt devastatingly sick with a kind of terrible, terrible cold and everything. But I didn't want to miss this. So I'm just, anyway, I wrote about how I feel I will be. I won't take any more time. I just thought I'd make a connection with you all.
It's
Well,
okay to
thank
take your
you.
time.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. And I wish you well. We all wish you well very quickly. And that is not going to take a year from now to get all of that.
When you both said that you were sick last week, I thought, oh my God, I'm joining them. I'm part of I think the senior years are very difficult because we never quite know from one day to the next what may happen.
We do not. And in fact, we never know from one day to the next what will happen, whether no matter how old we are. We are living in a time where there is absolutely nothing that is for sure.
Yeah.
The rules keep changing. Everything keeps changing. There's just absolutely no certainty. And I think that is what has been a true concern for humanity these days. Everything that we thought was pretty locked in, that ain't the truth anymore. It just changes from day to day. And so the only truth is what we know inside our hearts. We get a direct information constantly. All we need to do is ask for guidance, and we get it. What I will get will be different than what you will get, and what she will get, and what he will get. And that's the truth. That's our truth. And so, but I really appreciate you sharing, Cami.
And the self-care is the most important thing I'm realizing now, because I shouldn't have come here. My apartment is freezing. And when you talked about your apartment, I thought,
I'm so sorry about that. Well, please find a way to get some
well, I'm
space
going back to
and everything
Vancouver.
else. Good.
I'm
Okay.
taking myself away from here.
Okay. Yeah, go where it's going to be warm and safe, and let's stay connected, Cami. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Bowen Island. Love it. All right. Who would like to share about your experience in the breakout room, what you wrote, what anything that some ahas that came to you through the writing? Yes, Deborah. Thank you.
I'm awesome. What can I say? I mean, next year is going to be a really fabulous year. I will have published a book. I'm going to be out speaking. I'm going to be giving my knowledge. What else can I say? You know, like the dharma of helping people and being their best and knowing who they are is like you guys, like pretty awesome. So it's exciting. My body felt really good.
That's so great, because you've locked in what you've been doing up until now, right? You have committed to these things that you are doing. You're writing your book, you're doing your self-care practices, you're finding out when you're not doing them that you've got to go back to them.
Well, I had my self-care. That was the foundation. I never did not do that. That was, I had to. I mean, I not had to, I was called to. And well, it's the listening to my body and the subtleties of listening.
Well, listen, all I can say to you, Deborah, is we shared a place for a couple of months, and all I know is that at 4 o'clock, and even in the middle of a sentence, you'd say, sorry, going to meditate. So, so yes, you're right. You were absolutely, you were so committed to your practice. I get it, which is beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. And please don't feel you know, you guys have all, I mean, I don't have this down pat. I'm learning as we go. These last few weeks or months rather, since I moved here, have been incredibly challenging to know how to practice self-care when all I could feel was pain. And obviously I need to practice self-care, and yet it was screaming so loud in me. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes we're challenged in spite of the fact that we know it's good for us, right? And so I want to invite you, if you have any of those kinds of feelings within yourself right now, where sometimes there's resistance or sometimes there's, you know, I mean, for instance, I was in so much pain, but I couldn't write. Writing's my thing. And then I finally did write. And I got a lot of wisdom, which I always do. But sometimes we resist this. So I would like you to please be brave. I invite you to come forward. And if there's ever times that you feel, I know this would be really good for me, but I don't want to do it. You know, like this stubborn little kid, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not. Don't you make me. I'm not. Forget it. Okay. I'm going to garden and I'm going to eat worms and I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to play the way I want to play. And so seriously, Tony, you have your hands raised. Sorry, go for it.
That's okay. In January in 2024, I really was physically a mess and I was facing this surgery. My self-care was terrible and I was frightened about the surgery. It was very risky because of my health issues. And I really felt like my life was at stake at that point. And I, you know, I'm not saying self-care became easy because I really changed my lifestyle with the help of a coach. And, you know, I even had a surgeon that tried to talk me out of surgery because the risks were so bad, were so high. So I found someone willing to do the surgery and that had a better bedside manner, let me say, and that I trusted more. None of the things, you know, and I'm sitting here when I'm talking about this is because it's 12, 13, 14, 15 months later, and I'm amazed that I took care of myself as well as I did, you know, because it seemed impossible when I started. And one of the things in meeting with the group to just share some of the things I wrote, it just brought me that awareness that I did the impossible. I did what
Why
my
do you think,
belief
what was it
system.
about you? What was it, do you think, that made you, in spite of the fact that you felt like you couldn't, you didn't know what to do or if you would,
Yeah.
what was it that made you choose to do these self-care exercises in spite of your whatever it was?
The quality of my life was so poor that I felt I had to do something. It wasn't worth living. I wasn't depressed or, you know, suicidal. I was just unhappy and, you know, everything that I loved to do, I wasn't able to do. And the pain was excruciating and it was affecting my relationship with my partner, who, by the way, I'm now engaged to as of
Oh,
Valentine's Day. I
congratulations.
wanted to insert that somewhere.
Congratulations, mazel
Yeah.
tov.
So, you know, the fact that I've turned myself around, thank you, Deborah. You know, just it proved to me, you know, and I increased my spirituality practices quite a bit. I have several coaches, and I think I know that made a huge difference. And that had been something I had postponing and just didn't make a priority. I did nothing but self-care last year. I just needed that time to take care of myself.
Right.
And, you know, some practices have fallen out, but you know, I'm realizing, I think in the breakout room, just talking to people, this was a way of life that got me where I am today, which is not cured, you know, but in such a better place where I'm enjoying life and happy and looking forward to serving my community more. I have a lot of service projects, which I didn't mention in our group. You know, I'm sharing my wisdom. And I didn't for a long time because I couldn't. And it lights me up. You know, I was born here to for a purpose, you know, that Junie, and I'm back helping family caregivers, you know, with a moderate schedule, you know, and doing what I can. And I realized I'm just not done taking care of myself yet. I've got to recommit to everything
Right?
that I was doing.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. And I do know. Tell them the name of your book, Tony.
The name of my book, what's the name of my book? 21 Mistakes Caregivers Make and How to Avoid Them. And there's a subtitle, which I don't remember, but I wrote a lot about self-care, which I wasn't even doing at the time I wrote the book, but I knew what to do. So
Well,
I go
you
back,
did because
I
you
go
were
back to my book. I go back to my book and I read it all the time.
yeah. So I was Tony's writing coach during the period that she was publishing her
Yeah.
book, ready to publish her book. And it's a beautiful #1 best-selling book. It's a
Yeah.
Bible to
Thank
look at for caregivers. Totally. So
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
Who knew that you'd have to be, you know, we teach what we need to learn,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Again and again. Right. So thank you, Tony.
You're
Who
welcome.
else would like to share, please? Yes, Eleanor. You're muted. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had an experience the other day, and it's more or less what I wrote about, but with a friend that we had a falling out several months ago. And I was very nervous. She lives in the East, and I was very nervous of meeting up with her when she visited out here. And I didn't know whether to or not. And nuts and bolts is we finally did connect, and I agreed to meeting up for a birthday luncheon coming up. But I was very nervous about the whole thing. And then I bumped into her on a trail walk, and we had the most amazing experience that I have ever had.
Wow.
And we were in the 5D. There is no question we were in 5D. And it just flowed so beautifully. And I realized that I am stepping from not from 3D, but also embracing 5D. And it's a bit scary because a lot of people don't talk like this. So, but I'm putting myself out there and I'm feeling vulnerable about it, but I know it's the right thing. And I'm just embracing 3D and bringing it in with me to 5D. And the peace and the joy is unbelievable.
Thank you for sharing that. That is just so beautiful to be fearful about an upcoming face-to-face with someone you've had a falling out with can be quite anxiety provoking. And I'm sure that you set the intention for it to be wonderful, and it turned out to be beyond what you could even imagine. And so I love that. And I think that that happens again and again for me as well. Setting intentions is huge. It's enormous. It's almost everything. I often will set an intention. I send it ahead to my day. I wake up in the morning, and the first things I do in the morning is I say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, because I'm here. Thank you, God, for a brand new day and a beginning, an opportunity to live again. So I wake up in gratitude, and I think about who I'm going to see or what I'm going to be doing. And I just send ahead of my day how I want that to look. And it's amazing when we put that kind of intention into our day, how that is truly a self-care practice that I use, because it's so, I'm inviting in the angels, I'm inviting in God, I'm inviting in, you know, the archangels, I'm inviting in spirit to join me in the highest good for all concerned. And that is a beautiful way to start our days. But I'd like to continue hearing from a few more people of what has been a highlight for you, or somewhere, something that, Lynn, if your hand up, please. Yeah, go ahead. unmute.
I just so enjoyed the connection that we had in our outbreak groups. And one thing I wrote to myself, sort of ended my writing, excuse me, with acknowledging that I was a shining star in the universe. And I think we all are shining stars.
Well, the fact that you acknowledge that to yourself, that's beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, and we all are. Thank you, Lynn. Now, does anybody have any resistance in you? Like what regarding what you know is good for you? Please write down these things in your, your magical toolbox, wellness toolbox, radical self-care, this whole chart, right? Because, and then put it somewhere where you can see it. Okay, put it on your fridge, take a copy of it and put it in your wallet. We don't always know when we're feeling not very well and we're not feeling very motivated to know what the best next thing to do is. Is it a bath? Maybe not. Is it listening to a podcast? I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's not. Maybe I just need to take a nap. Maybe I need to put in and set some healthy boundaries around something. Maybe I need to have a games night. I don't know, but when you've got the whole list of all the different things and you can always add to it, it's a living document. You can see right on, this is what I want. I just need to go for a quiet walk by myself in nature. But we don't always necessarily know what those things are in the moment when we're not feeling exactly like we're motivated to do anything at all. Pick up this list and say, okay, I can't do that right now, or I choose not to, but this is a good one. I can go write a book. Who wants to go write a book with me? All right, nobody else have any other comments? Anybody we haven't heard from today want to say something? Going once.
You calling on me?
No, I just said call it going once. Going twice.
You know, the more
Mhm.
I was just saying that in my group, I said that you know, our ancestors and our parents sometimes were just in survival mode,
Right.
and they accidentally taught us that self-care was selfish or not part of what was available to us, or that it was all about taking care of everything else and everybody else. And it just is, I think our ancestors are cheering us on as we have this consciousness to open up this conversation and heal those distorted beliefs that we had around self-care being selfish.
Right.
And they didn't intend for us to stop ourselves in our self-love and self-care practices. And they just didn't know how to teach us this stuff. And they didn't know how to do it for themselves. There was
Right.
no room. There was room to barely breathe, I think. And so I think that as we do this work, they are celebrating with us, and they are holding us in this love, and they are cheering us on. And I think that when we ask for their help, they're hovering all around us, but they can't help us unless we ask, because there's this thing called willpower, divine willpower. So I think that you can take it or leave it depending on your beliefs, but I'm trying to remember to ask for their help. And I think that, and I heard this once and it stuck with me recently. When I'm asking for their help, it's like, help me to be helped. I don't know what I'm asking for exactly, but help me to be helped, because earth angels are hovering around us, and I don't know what I need. And maybe a podcast comes in, or maybe a meditation comes in, or maybe a poem comes in, or maybe I just hear something in a conversation snippet in the grocery store. I don't know, but help me to be helped to receive what it is that I don't even know that I need. Um, and as we do that, as we do this work, this time on the planet, it's a bit chaotic and dark, and there's so many kind of storms going on. But the more that we do this, the more we contribute to the light on the planet and to the healing of all of those chains of pain. And I think it is the most important work we can do. And I've been really good at helping others to do it, but I'm really putting myself in the mix here to claim it for myself. And I love this conversation, and that we're each going to go forward. And when we do this, we give permission for others to do it.
1000%. I love what you said, Maggie. I love everything that you shared, truly. And yeah, I agree that when we ask for help, we receive it, and it's important to ask for help from our ancestors. I grabbed this morning. This was the teddy bear that I brought into my mom when she was in hospice years ago. And when she passed, I brought her home. So that's Minnie. and she's here to love you and me, and I didn't. It's very interesting. I'll just say this, I'll try to say this quickly, but she got more and more bitter as she got more and more in pain as she was dying. Some people become nicer and kinder. My mother became more angry. And I used to think, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to be like and how it's going to be like for me when my time comes. And if I'm in pain like that, please don't make me miserable and bitter and mean. And I've been miserable and bitter and mean this last month, in ways I haven't recognized myself, because the pain has been so bad sometimes. And I don't want that, but I recognize now my mom, God bless her, pain can take you out. It can really take you out of who you know yourself to be. And I'm sometimes embarrassed and shamed, because some of the people I love the very most have been at the end of my short fuse or my impatience because of that. And so it's always a chance to go back and self-forgive and bring in and whatever we need in order to know that we're doing the very best we can. And what I want to say, I want to share right now a couple of things that I have offer for you. But I just want to just reiterate a little bit what you, before you bring that up, Tayama, can you just give me a moment to just thank you? Thank you, though. I'll bring it up so that I can slide it at the way in which I need to. Thank you. I just want to bring up what you were saying, Maggie, and we've talked about it, we've touched on it, that this time in our history is unprecedented. And those of us who are light workers on the world, who are here because we have a mission, we want to make the world a better place. It's the most important thing that we can do is look after ourselves. I used to laugh at that. People say, oh, I can't love somebody else until you love yourself. Well, I used to say, are you kidding me? I love so many people. I don't like myself that much. But no, the more I love myself, the more room I have to love everyone. And we just have to keep coming back again and again and again, as often as that takes, so that we can spread our light, be that lighthouse, be that light in the dark, be that for ourselves and others. So I bless you and I thank you for being here. So I'm going to share my screen, and thank you, Tayama. I think, oh, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on. Stop share. 1 second.
Would you like me to bring it up?
Yeah, I think so, love. I'll just let you know when I ask you to bring it down a bit. So these are the shares that I want to. So I have some offerings. So now that you've started this journey, I'd love to invite you to consider what I'm offering that will help you stay committed to your self-care. So radical self-care coaching, this is my offer. If you'd like to anchor in the lessons that you've learned from the masterclass today and go even deeper into your self-care practice, I'm offering you a 30-minute complimentary session to explore your particular needs at this time. I always design my programs in ways that are tailor-made for individuals who participate. So just think about what your wants and needs are and book a complimentary session with me, okay? And because you're registered for this radical self-care today, I'm offering a special reduced price, which we'll discuss during our session together, because I can't tell you what it is because I don't know what it is that you want yet and what would serve you best. So this is just an offer for a free coaching call. And the next one is a book writing offer. So if you yourself are thinking about writing a book, are you thinking about it? And somebody is, we've got angels in the back. Is it a dream that keeps coming back? If so, excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry, I don't want to turn this off.
It's a pause, everybody. Remember to breathe. It's a pause. It's an alarm. It's a pause. Come into your breath.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know how to turn it down. Oh, well. So if you're thinking about writing a book, is it a dream that keeps coming back? And if so, it may not be a dream at all. It may be your destiny calling. I've been coaching writers who've become #1 best-selling authors for decades. Tony Giddles today being one of them. And if you have a book in you that's ready to be birthed, click the button below for an enlightening 30-minute complimentary discovery session, and we'll discuss your book in detail. Even if it's only a concept at this time, because every brilliant piece of art, no matter what, began first in someone's imagination. So again, whatever that looks like for you, and you can just bring that up, please, Tayama. There'll be a special price because you are here today. And then I want you to bring that up even further, please. The upcoming writing circles. So I'm going to be starting again with Right Where You Are weekly writing circles. And they're going to be on Zoom. And so does writing call to you as a sacred expression? Or perhaps it's a way to come alive. Whatever it means for you, you're welcome. But come out and find out what wants to reveal itself on the page when you join a sacred circle of writers. The process is about sharing from our hearts. It's laughter, it's friendship, it's learning to stop judging our work, it's sipping tea, it's finding our voice and feeling safe to speak our words out loud. It's about being authentic and kind. It's about creativity. It's about catharsis, allowing the writing to become our wise teacher. It's poetry, it's prose, it's short stories, it's drawing and drawings that we write from. In short, it's a love fest, both on and off the page. Many of us have never had someone being a loving witness, fully paying attention to what we say and honoring who we are. The more we read out loud, the less we're concerned about it being good, bad, right, wrong. We stop judging it. It's not a critique group. Our souls flourish in a safe, non-judgmental environment. We grow strong in an atmosphere of kindness and respect, knowing that we are being supported exactly as we are. And many people arrive at my door the first time wondering if they can write at all because they've been blocked for months or even years, or they think they have no talent, or perhaps are afraid of what might come out. When these fledgling writers enter our sacred circle, everyone's welcomed, camaraderie is exchanged, no one's judged, and it's then they stop judging themselves. When you have fun, confidence grows, words start to dance on the page in the form of poetry, prose, song, lyrics, fiction. And It's a beautiful experience. Keep going up the page, please. So connect with other writers. Oh, just go down again a bit. Yeah, okay. Connect with other writers, find out where your creative flow and deepen your writing practice. So we're going to be starting that on April the 13th, Sundays from 2:30 in the afternoon to 4:30. And the regular price is $25 a session or $90 for 4 sessions. Or your bonus offer is $75 for 4 sessions, which is 1 free session if you sign up today. And the 4 sessions must be completed within 8 weeks. And can you just keep going up the page, please, Tayama? I can't do it myself. Thank you. Yeah, and then you can register for all 4 sessions at the same time, and you can pay via PayPal, and you'll be sent this as well. You'll get this in the mail later today when the recording comes out. You'll get that, so you can do it later. And then just as, and that's where you can register. You would just go onto that button there and keep going up, please. We're almost finished now. Right where you are, walking and writing circles in person, and they're going to be starting soon. So we're going to write. We're going to go for a nice, lovely mindfulness walk, and then we'll be doing some writing. So if you're in somewhere else besides Nanaimo, and if you might want to come to Nanaimo if you're somewhere else on the island or even Victoria, just for a day trip, it'd be beautiful. Okay, we can take away that share now. Thank you. So those are my offerings that I would love to offer you. So know that those complimentary calls, all you have to do is click that link. And if you didn't get it today, if you didn't get it now while we're watching, because we're going to end this in a few minutes, you will get the replay and you can do it there. And you'll get that later today. My assistant, my beautiful assistant for the last 5 years, her name is India Cornell. She'll be sending that to you. Okay, so are there any questions at all before we leave today?
Before we do our last breath exercise,
And before we, yeah, I was good. I hadn't forgotten that. Yes, before any questions before we do our last breath exercise with Tayama, our gifted, beautiful sprite fairy.
Not a question. I just wanted to thank you both so much, Junie and Tayama, for this session.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I wanted to say something as well. Junie, I'm so happy that you invited me today. It was more than I could even imagined. I came and I had a very busy day with all these things that I was going to do. And when I came on the call and just sinking into the beingness of all of this, I realized that there's no place that I'd rather be than right here, right now. And so I stayed. And it was so strengthening to me. And what I am so encouraged by and what I'm present to is the power of us coming together and being vulnerable, being with one another, having our attention on each other, being in a place where we can share, where we can trust, where we can feel vulnerable. I'm so grateful for this experience. I have learned so much from each and every one of you, just being in this space together today. I am grateful.
Oh, thank you so much, Rena.
You are
Thank
so
you so much. It just means the world to me. Rena is my coach in a program that I'm in called the Year of Miracles, and with Marcy Scheimoff and a bunch of other people. And Rena is my coach, and she's extraordinary. Just, I love you for showing up today and being there, and that it's worked for you so well. Bless you. Any other comments before Tayama takes us on a magical mystery tour? Okay. I thank you all. I just want to, before you begin, Tam, I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I honestly, many times this past week, wondered whether, I think Tayama and I both wondered individually, separately from each other, without discussing it with one another, whether we would make it today. And at times I didn't know whether it was my pride, my ego, or what that stopped me from saying I'm not doing this and look after myself, or it was truly, and I really did come to this, it was truly an inner guidance to say, you can do this, Junie. This is what you're here to do. And I have to say that throughout almost all of this time together, the pain has been so reduced because this is what I meant to do.
Beautiful.
I love you for showing up. Thank you. And I love you, Tayama, for showing up and saying, can I do this with you? Yeah. Yeah.
Fun.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody. Everybody just, that parts party that we had, just thank you for all the parts that showed up today and all the things and being in circle. And it's always a ritual of mine that we close the circle in some form or fashion, so that we opened the circle and now we'll close the circle. And the piece that I wanted to bring to you is a fun meditation. It's a breath awareness meditation. And we'll do it together for 2 minutes. And I'll guide you along. You just have one tiny piece of homework to do before we begin. Is we're going to inhale. So what would you like more of in your life? Write that word down. Whatever that might be. Is it rest? Is it vitality? Is it energy? Is it joy? Is it love? Is it money? I don't know what it could be. Is it love? It doesn't matter. For you, this is for you. When you inhale, what would you like more of? That's your word. And when you exhale, what would you like to give out more to the world? So when we inhale, you're going to breathe in. I'm just going to say, let's say mine is going to be joy. And then what I want to breathe in more joy, and I actually want to give out more joy. So I'm actually going to use the same word for my inhale and my exhale. So what do you want more of is your inhale, and what you exhale is what you're going to give. So the inhale is receive and the exhale is give. So we're going to do this for 2 minutes. And what it would look like is, as you inhale, you're going to think your words. As you exhale, you're going to think your word. As you inhale, think your words. And if you get caught off in thoughts and all of a sudden you're off in a little story, that's okay. In the next 2 minutes, I'll just remind you to come back. And this is something you can put in each day in your pause if you like, the inhale and the exhale. So we're going to start 2 minutes, and we're going to start now. What am I inhaling more of? What am I being open to receive? And as I exhale, what am I showing up as giving to the all? Inhale, receive, and exhale, I give. And may harmony and balance come in the way that it needs to. Sometimes I need a longer inhale. I need to receive more. And maybe my exhale is a little shorter because I need to give a little bit less today. Or maybe your cup is so full that your inhale can be a little shorter and your exhale can be deliciously long as you give a little more today than receive. Your breath is your compass to your harmonization, to your symphony. So how can I open and soften and open and soften and soften and open? Can I allow my inhale and my exhale to dance together as one in this lifetime, in this moment? Hmm. I breathe, therefore I prosper. Hmm. An invitation to move that body. Now that you've breathed in more of what you need, thank you for joining us today, you guys. Magical time.
Thank you, everybody. Go on and have a phenomenal day. Bring in all the self-love and all the nurturing and all the feelings of beauty through this community. Community. We're here to be in community.
Thank you so much.
Take care, you guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Love you.